Assalamualaikum and very good morning, girls. Okay, let's continue our discussion on the adaptation of plants, yeah, in the chapter 7. Okay, so do you still remember how many types of the plants based on the different habitats? Okay, so we already discussed that in the previous video. Okay, so say it together with me. Okay, what are the types of plant that can be classified in the different habitats? Okay, first one is Mesophytes. Okay, so Mesophytes. Again, second one is Halophytes. Okay, so what do you mean by halo? Halo refer to the salty condition. So the plant that live in the salty area. Okay, then the third one is Hydrophytes. Okay, Hydrophytes, and the fourth type is Xerophytes. Okay, so in the previous video, we already discussed about the adaptive features of Halophytes. Okay, so for today, we are going to discuss the adaptive features of Hydrophytes and also Xerophytes. Okay, so let's go together with me. Okay, first, yeah. Okay, adaptive features of the hydrophytes. Okay, number one, most hydrophytes have fibrous root. Yeah, fibrous root. Akar serabut. Yeah, that provide a large surface area and trap air bubbles. Yeah, trap air bubbles to enable the hydrophytes to be more stable and lighter. Okay, so what is hydrophytes? Actually, hydrophytes refer to the plants, yeah, that can live in the wet or watery habitat, yeah, whether by floating or by submerged in the water. So most hydrophytes have fibrous roots. Okay, to for what? Yeah, to provide a large surface area and trap air bubbles. Yeah, to enable the hydrophytes to more stable and lighter. So that the adaptation of the roots enable them to float or stay upright, yeah, in the water, as well as the buoyant force, yeah, exerted by the surrounding water. So these are examples of the hydrophytes. Okay, Hydrilla species, Elodia species, and also Ecornia species. Okay, Ecornia species refer to the pokok apa? Keladi bunting. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the adaptive features of the hydrophytes that floating on water. Ya, okay, kita akan bincang ciri-ciri adaptasi pokok yang hidup terapung, ya, floating on water, ya, terapung di atas air. Okay, grow by floating on the water surface with the roots not anchored to the bottom of the lake. Right? Okay, the leaf which are broad, yeah, leaf which are broad, lebar, yeah, thin and flat. Yeah, thin and flat help this plant absorb maximum sunlight, yeah, for photosynthesis. Okay, so these are referred to the characteristic of the leaf, yeah, of the floating plant, which are broad, thin and flat. Okay, for what? To absorb maximum sunlight for photosynthesis. Okay, example of the floating plant is Lotus species. Okay, stomata of the floating plant are distributed on the upper epidermis of the leaf. Yeah, upper epidermis of the leaf. And then the upper epidermis of the leaf is also covered by a waxy, waterproof cuticle to ensure the stomata are always open. Alright, okay, so that is referred to the leaf, the upper epidermis of the leaf of the floating plant, yeah, which is a waxy, water and waterproof cuticle. And the stomata are distributed more on the upper epidermis of the leaf, yeah, not like as a land plant. If land plant, stomata are distributed on the lower epidermis, but for the floating plant, the stomata are distributed on the upper epidermis. The stem of this plant consists of light tissue, with plenty of air spaces between the cells. So these tissues are known as parenchyma tissues. Alright, okay, parenchyma tissues. Okay, so you have to remember that parenchyma tissues refer to the tissues that have a lot of air space. Yeah, a lot of air space. Okay, look at this one example. Okay, this diagram. So this one refer to the parenchyma tissues. Yeah, because these tissues consist of air space. Yeah, air space between the cells. So it will provide buoyancy. So it will make the tissue lighter, yeah, because have a lot of air space. So this tissue is only can be found in the floating plant. Alright, so this tissue are called as parenchyma tissue. Alright, so let's go to the adaptive features of the hydrophytes that live in the water, that sinking or submerged in the water. Okay, ya, submerged plant. Ini tumbuhan yang hidup tenggelam di dalam air. So these plants have leaves, yeah, that are thin and small. Yeah, okay, so this is example of the Hydrilla species, yeah. So the leaf of the Hydrilla thin and small, yeah, thin and small. Okay, for what? Yeah, to increase the total surface area per volume, yeah, for the gases exchange, yeah, and also increase the diffusion rate of water, mineral salts, and dissolved gases directly into the plants through the epidermis. Alright, okay, so that is referred to the characteristic of the leaf of the plant, which is thin and small. Right, okay. Then, okay, the submerged plant do not have stomata. Okay, submerged plant do not have stomata and waxy cuticles on the leaf. Alright, so how come the plant get the carbon dioxide photosynthesis? Okay, how come? So actually the carbon dioxide absorbed directly into the leaf. Yeah, okay. So stems, yeah, which are small and hollow. Yeah, stems which are small and hollow. Hollow ni adalah berongga, ya, berongga. Help this plant float upright in the water and help to reduce water flow resistance. Okay, so the stem which are small and hollow. Alright, so that is referred to the adaptive characteristic or features of the hydrophytes. Okay, now we go to the adaptive features of the xerophytes. Okay, xerophytes live in the desert, an area that receives very little rainfall. Yeah, very little rainfall. Okay, so means this place receive minimum water. Okay, however, xerophytes can overcome this problem of extreme dryness. Okay, how does the xerophyte overcome the extreme dryness? Okay, so number one, roots. Yeah, the roots of the xerophyte grow widely. They grow widely and can penetrate deep into the soil to absorb water and mineral salt. Okay, so the root of the xerophytes grow widely, widely and penetrate deeply into the soil. The absorbed water is stored in the roots, stems, and the leaf. Alright, okay, so this refers to the cactus. Yeah, okay, you can look at the roots of the cactus here, which is a widely, grow widely, yeah, and then it will penetrate deep into the soil. Okay, the leaf, the leaf of the xerophytes. Okay, the cactus has small leaf, has small leaf and thick waxy cuticle on its stem and leaf. So the cactus has small leaf and has thick waxy cuticle, on its stem and leaf. They are also leaf modified into thorns. The leaf also modified into thorns. Duri. Okay, then this feature reduce the total surface area exposing to the sun, thus reducing water loss. Alright, so the leaf are modified into the thorns and it will reduce the total the water loss. It will reduce the total surface area and also reducing the water loss by transpiration. Okay, that is the characteristics of the leaf of the xerophytes. Okay, what are the other characteristics? Okay, the presence of the thorns can also help the cactus to get water supply by collecting dew. Right? Okay, the thorns can collect dew. Yeah. And then the dew will drop on the ground and is absorbed by the roots. Okay, besides the thorns can also prevent the plant from being eaten by animals. Okay, and then the stomata in the cactus are embedded to reduce water evaporation from the leaf. Okay, so the stomata in the cactus is sunken, ditenggelam ke dalam batang, it's embedded, tenggelam, sunken. Why? To reduce water evaporation from the leaf by transpiration. Alright, so this is an example of the stomata of the cactus. You can see here the stomata is sunken or embedded into the stem of the cactus. Okay, so I think that's all for now. That's all for the chapter 7. So we already end chapter 7, the adaptation of the plants in the different habitats. Okay, so please do the mind map for the adaptive features of the hydrophytes and the xerophytes. Okay, so I hope you can read again and again until you do really understand. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you very much.